Look, if you think winning your property management market in the next few years is about having the flashiest new software or undercutting your competitors on price, I've got some incredibly disruptive news for you. You are playing yesterday's game. Right now, AI isn't just growing. It's compounding at 4 times the speed of the traditional tech revolutions we've lived through. It's quickly becoming a free commodity, and every single competitor in your market has access to the exact same basic tools. That leads us to the big idea of today's conversation. In an era where technology is becoming more accessible and moving this fast, the less it is about the software itself, and the more it is about your team's AI skills and choosing the right tech stack. It's about intentionally picking an open, modular system that can adapt as fast as the market does. In this episode, Kogi and I are diving deep into why your AI value hinges entirely on how you upgrade your team's skills, how to actually pick a tech stack that won't leave you obsolete in 6 months, and the exact AI as a new hire strategy Kogi uses to eliminate prompt failures completely by teaching AI business judgment. If you are ready to start building a genuinely future-proof operation, turn the volume up. Let's break some frames.
Welcome to the Property Management Frame Breakers podcast. I'm your host, Pablo Gonzalez, and I am here to introduce you to the folks in the property management space that have broken the frame of what you may believe was possible. This podcast is presented by Vendoroo. It is your all-in-one AI solution for resolving your maintenance needs. Let's go. What I want to talk about, Kogi, is feel like you have a unique understanding of systems and softwares and solutions in the space that allow for someone that's listening to this podcast to really think through how do I build the tech stack and the system by someone who's to set somebody up that would work for me to really succeed. I think that's like you're like the ultimate kind of like right hand man of the owner of the broker owner, and I really want to break that down, man. And on top of that, you're a pro at agentic AI now, so
And every day I realize I know less.
That's the market expert.
Yeah, it's too much. Every day AI is evolving. I don't know the exact number. What I know is that a couple weeks ago or months ago, talking with Brian about this, it's like what AI is today, it's nothing compared to what it was a year ago. So it is doubling in speed. So 10 years ago, it's nothing compared to what it was right now. And 6 months from now, it's completely different of what it was doing 6 months ago. So it's doubling in speed. And every day I learn about AI because I said like, oh yeah, I know about AI, agentic AI, whatever. I use Claude. And we have our dashboards and connections between Rentvine and Apply, whatever. But then you start seeing that you don't know shit about AI, man. And I was reading last week. I was trying to implement a repo from someone who won the Anthropics hackathon. So the guy knows shit. The guy knows what he built. And I was reading the documentation about it, and I understand 1% of it, and just because it was English, but nothing meant. But I mean, it's part of the process. Sometimes it's difficult. I have to be honest, because trying to understand everything about a topic like AI, it's impossible. No one knows everything about AI. No one knows. What you can do is connect with people that know about it. And Vendoroo knows about AI connected with maintenance, right? And triage and troubleshooting and vendor communication and all this space of maintenance. And with Lisa, like this receptionist thing, like it's our name, Lisa, it's our receptionist. And what you guys know, it's related to that portion of the business. But then if you want to know more about process-wise, then you're going to use a different tool for that. That's not going to be directly with you guys. Maybe you guys can help with because you guys have the experience dealing with AI tools. but then you need to go back and check other tools, other people, what are they doing, how are they doing it. And something that I have always taken into consideration in my life, or what I've learned from the companies that I worked for before, and my bosses and leaders and everybody who has actually have like taught me something, has been, you don't know what you don't know, but there's other people around you who can help you with that. So I sometimes I don't have any idea about what to do with some specific cases. So I go and ask. Right now, everybody has like your phone, and you can go and talk to ChatGPT or Claude, like, hey, what can I do about this? Sometimes Claude, it's a genius. I was talking to Brian yesterday. The AI or Claude, it's like a genius, but it's like a baby genius. That like he doesn't know. It doesn't have any logic. It doesn't have. It is not street smart. It doesn't know better. It's just a genius that doesn't know it is a genius. So you have to know how to use it. You have to know what to do with it. You have to know or learn or connect with someone that actually knows about it. So I try to follow and copy from everyone. I mean, you don't have to invent the wheel. That's something that I've learned a lot. Everybody on AI is trying to, oh, I want to do this big thing that's gonna change my business, and it's gonna be a revolution in the space because nobody else is doing it. No, somebody else is already doing it 100%, almost 100% of the time, and most of the time they are giving it away because they, or at least cheap, because they know that it can help more people. So with AI and with everything in life, I've learned that I don't have to reinvent the wheel. I just need to know and connect with the people that actually are smart, and that they know how to use that wheel that I'm trying to reinvent, and just copy it and use it for my business and tweak it however I want to tweak it. It's basically that. I mean, it's my whole life. Probably I learned this when I was 14 or 15 years old. Somebody told me that a book is just not 1,000 words or more to learn about something. A book is the experience that somebody else has already lived, and you can just, by reading a book, you won't have to leave what they already went through. You can just realize, okay, so I'm reading a book about, like, I don't know, EOS, for example. That's one I've been reading a lot lately. EOS, and in this space is really good. So when I start going through the book, instead of trying to figure out how to implement in a specific portion of or a tool, I can just copy what they have gone through and not make the same mistakes. So it saves you time, it saves you headaches. It's the experience. So when someone writes a book, it's all of the experience they have gathered over the years, put it into a book, and you can just learn from that instead of going through the same hoops and issues and everything. So that's something that I have always thought about it. A book is just somebody else's experience compressed in something you can understand, implement, and learn from. So
I
yeah.
forget. So a couple of things I want to just kind of like hit on and highlight of what you talked about, right? And I want to summarize this stuff, and then I want to move into where are you learning about it? You know, what are your trusted sources for AI? What are your current kind of like beliefs around the best way to like structure operations right now? And then I also want to talk about how do you talk to agents? How do you talk to AI agents, right? But like real quick on what you just said, a couple of things that I think are brilliant, and I want to highlight to our friend that's listening of why I had you on here, right? Like that showcases it. Number one, I'll just go backwards. The book thing, right? I forgot what book I was reading, but it was a book of on flow state or something like. I think it was a book on flow state, and it just talked about this idea of um the amount of time that's put into pieces of content is directionally proportional to the value that you get out of it, right? So like if you're listening to a podcast, Sure, you're taking time to listen to a curated conversation between someone who I think is smart enough for me to put you in front of, but we're sitting down here and we're talking. We might have prepared a little bit for it. You and me have talked about it. Very different than whether you are listening, whether you're reading a newsletter or something that takes someone to like write, edit,
Yeah,
publish. Very different than 200 pages of a book that somebody's worked 2 years on, right? Like whether I've worked an hour on this thing that you're listening to, a week on it, which is what it normally takes me to write a newsletter, or my book, which I took, a year to write, is directly proportional to like the value you can get. And something that you said is really interesting to me. Like really smart people learn from their mistakes. Truly extraordinary people learn from other people's mistakes. So like having that
exactly,
approach to life is big. And
exactly.
and in particular with AI, my keynote last year, my talks have evolved from kind of like, this year I'm really talking a lot about the data and the things that we're seeing inside of Vendoroo. Before we had everything really well formulated and knew what we're talking about, and we're still kind of like figuring it out ahead of everybody else. I was talking a lot of what I see elsewhere that I learned from other people. And one of the things was there was a moment where the CEO of Shopify, the CEO of Duolingo, and the CEO of Fiverr all released this
Yeah,
memo about like what they think about AI. And all of them said the idea that AI is moving just too fast for you to figure it out. So the best way to
yeah,
like know it is surround yourself by AI first thinkers. And we've been kind of like pitching that idea that, hey, at Vendoroo, we really are AI first thinkers. So we want to be your friend and we want to help you, but we can only help you
yeah,
on certain things, man. And then last but not least, what you started with. Technology has been so rapid and changing, and it's been based on this thing called like Moore's Law, right? Like the fact that
yeah,
chips half in size and double in power every 2 years have
yeah,
led to this revolution, but AI is moving at doubles every 6 months. So we're
yeah.
like a 4x speed. And
And I could say even more. I
yeah,
mean, at the beginning of the year, we were talking about ChatGPT. Everybody was using ChatGPT. Everybody was, oh, talk to ChatGPT about it. Oh yeah, you can use ChatGPT to create processes, to gather information, to connect your business, blah blah blah. And you wouldn't think about 6 months ago on January that today where ChatGPT was left behind by a Claude tool that everybody's using, that you can do so much stuff and that you can learn so much about it. So just that tomorrow Claude might be obsolete. That is something that might happen, and I'm pretty sure it will happen. I'm pretty sure it will happen because that's what we're seeing right now. Every tool that we're starting to implement, and that's something we'll talk a little later. It's on how I structure or how I would structure operations from day zero to actually make sure that you're set up for success in terms of tools. But basically, it's do not get married with just one tool because it is amazing. But if you're gonna use a tool and you want to keep using it, it's because you can improve it, you can upgrade it, you can get it better day by day, not just because oh this is the holy grail or this is the best thing that's happening right now and today. No, you have to understand that it is changing so fast that those companies that are not thinking in the future and they're still thinking, okay, what are we doing today? How are we going to improve things today? And not thinking about how things are going to be and tomorrow, those companies are getting left behind.
yeah,
And that's when we start talking about the tools that we use. Specifically in Dreambig PM, we use Rentvine, for example. And I don't like to talk shit about other companies, but when you compare Rentvine and what they are doing to other property management softwares, you can see why they are so ahead in terms of connectivities, in terms of tools, in terms of improvements and the actual growth that they have had in the past. It's because they are not just thinking about, okay, what do we have today and how can we improve this? No, what can we build for the tomorrow? And that's what they're doing. And I love that about them. I mean, we were at the Be Heard a couple months ago, and I mean, and like what they're doing right now, it's amazing. They just launched the MCP not so long ago. We have been testing it a little bit. I haven't been able to fully integrate it and do everything with it, but I already have 1,000 things that I want to put into it and a thousand things that I want to get done because right now AI it's my assistant basically.
Yeah.
basically. I don't even myself. I have Claude saved on my dashboard, and I even changed the name and I put Claude a name. His name is Claudio, which is like in Spanish name. So he's my guy, and every time I need something, I just go and ask him about it. I have gotten really interesting stuff out of Claude just by asking the right questions with the right format, with the
Yeah.
right structure.
Claude is your baby genius that you're growing into your second brain. Let's do something real quick, Kogi, because the terminology MCP is something that I don't think the majority of people, unless you're like into building things yourself,
Yeah.
MCP is a relatively new concept. How would you explain to our friend that's listening right now what an MCP is?
So MCP is Model Context Protocol, and how I understand it, pretty easy and simple. It's basically a way to connect two tools that you never thought that they could be connected and actually make them work together in like the best possible way, kind of. With that MCP, let's say Rentvine, I know Apply it's launching that too. I've heard some things about Vendoroo launching one soon. In the future, what you can do is connect tools like Claude, ChatGPT. Again, you don't have to marry with one specifically. You can connect it to a lot of different AIs or tools, and you can make the system work for you in a lot of ways. So I can go through Claude and ask, hey, I need you to go and check all these inspections that I have in a tool like Z Inspector and gather out of all these inspections all the model and serial numbers of the appliances, and then use Claude to push them into Rentvine. All of that is thanks to the MCP, which is like an improvement of like when an API used to be, and now you can basically have someone who would have spent 2 or 3 weeks doing that job done in a few hours. So MCP is just a way to connect tools, which is pretty amazing. It's a little complicated. That's when we start getting a little techy, but
Yeah.
but companies like Apply, like Rentvine, like Vendoroo are making things easier for people like us, which I don't have a software background. I'm just curious. So I spend time going over stuff. I just have time to spend doing crazy stuff or learning about things that not everyone has time to.
Yeah.
But then that's when I come back to connect with people that can actually help you. I mean, if you're using a platform like Rentvine or like Apply or like Vendoroo, you don't need to have the time. Those companies they do have the teams to put the time for you.
I want to break that down in a second. To me, the way that I describe the MCP is essentially like we're all familiar with Zapier, who is like their whole job is to like allow two different products to work together. Now
Yeah,
every product is essentially creating their own like Zapier plug to plug into other things, right? Like
yeah.
it's their own way to correspond is the way that I like to describe.
And on Zapier, you used to have, or like Zapier is really good, but
Yeah,
you have to learn how to build things with Zapier.
yeah,
With the MCP, it's more like the companies or like the software companies already are building, like you said, the plug. So
yeah.
you just need
The
to
plug.
connect it, and they already know how to talk to each other, and you
Yeah,
can just talk to your AI and ask for stuff,
yeah.
even questions, or even push things into those platforms, which is something that saves time out of a 24-hour day. I wish we can have more hours in a day. That's not possible. So let's make the most out of those 8, 10 hours that you're working.
Yeah, I like that, man. And then the other thing I was gonna say, when you talk about Rentvine, right? Like, to me, it's something I figured out the moment that I kind of came into the space. And it was like at the dawn of like the AI thing, right? Like it was really starting to happen. Obviously, I came in with dedicating myself to Vendoroo mid 2024 kind of thing, right? And what was very clear to me is that Rentvine has this open philosophy, which is at the core of their point of view, right? Like it's like built for a world where they already knew that things were going to be rapidly changing. They already knew that the end consumer was going to be empowered to build their own products, and other people were going to be coming out with products and things like that. So they're playing offense on this idea of allowing you to plug and play and change and effectively lowering the price and cost of switching different things inside of your system in order to like really build the way that you want it. Which is why I've been like from day one super into like Rentvine as a partner and everything that they're doing. But I think if I was to go a bit further, and I'm trying to like distill from what you said, what I interpret as, obviously I agree with it, right? So it like validates my self point of view, but like I see the tech stack of the property manager. If I was a property manager or an operator inside of property management, I'd be looking for number one, systems that allow you to either to work with the things you already have and not have to switch, right? So either be like an open PMS or an agent that allows you to like plug into like whatever you're already using. Number two, a team that invests heavily on being able to take your call and be that technology partner, right? Like once it goes slightly beyond your technology know-how, not force you to go figure it out on yourself and be highly adaptable and see someone that's proving to you that they're at the tip of the spear of consistently pushing out product and bringing out new things, right? Like that to me is like what I've seen that you really, those are the, when you talk about Rentvine, Apply, and us, to me, like those are
Yeah,
three things that bring us together that I see you consistently evangelizing.
basically, yeah. You know how I talked about companies when we are in person and when we are with other people. You know how I talked about those companies that I really like.
Yeah.
So my main tech stack, as you said, it's basically like no. If somebody knows me, it's like Rentvine, Apply, Vendoroo. The inspectors are not a company that I really love, and they are doing great stuff. And if you check and if you compare all these four companies, they have what you're saying. Like they, if you need anything out of those four companies on Rentvine, it's as easy as a phone call right now because they have a dedicated phone line now. So you can call that phone number and you can get help. If they cannot answer over the phone, an email, and within hours you already have an answer on issues that with other companies might take days just to resolve or to have an idea about what's going on. Z Inspector, Vendoroo, they're the same thing. Vendoroo is working a lot with the AI. So basically for maintenance coordination, it's pretty easy just to go and ask about it. Like we talked about it on our webinar. I just go like ask directly like what's going on with this work order, and I can get answers in seconds with a whole update and a breakdown of what's going on with our work order that has been open for a month without having to actually go and read. So, and then if I need something, I can just talk to like a human in the loop, and things are gonna be taken care of pretty easy too. It's Inspector too. If I create a ticket, and sometimes it takes me more time to write a ticket than to get an answer back from them. So it's stuff like that. Customer service, it's really, really important. Something that I've been hearing in the industry for the last couple, I'll probably say last year, since last time we heard is AI. AI is changing everything, and we're seeing all these companies coming through live and offering AI services, really cheap services because they're using a lot of AI. But then we stop seeing the actual numbers behind the industry. So I don't know the number from the top of my head, but I know like 60 or 70% of properties are self-managed right now. So owners are self-managing their properties because they like to do things the old way. They like to talk to the residents. They like to have this human interaction. Sometimes it can be a headache. Some people might be easy to deal with. But the thing is, out of all of the industry, the companies that are being the best, or the companies that are keeping the actual owners, keeping the residents, and making things great, are those that are really investing into customer service that it's on like top of the line. So companies like Vendoroo, companies like Rentvine, companies like the Inspector again and Apply, they all have a great customer support. And then property management companies that are actually offering a great customer support, those are the ones that are the owners and the residents are happy with. Like if you go and check the property management company, they don't have a great customer support. You can check Google reviews and easily understand and realize, okay, these people might not be the best to manage the property, for example. So there, and how to invest in this customer support, there comes AI tools. It comes training your people. It comes to knowing how to direct them, knowing how to make sure we're taking care of the properties, or even residents, how to take care of um, their homes. Because at the end, even if it's not their own house, it's their home while they're living there. So sometimes people just say, no, my only client's the owner, and I have my fiduciary duty with the owners, and that's all. No, residents are a really important deal with this, because they have to be taken care of too. So customer support, man, and this tech age, I feel that sometimes people leave it behind, really leave it behind. And that's not, no, that to me, that kills the industry, and that kills companies too. I can't remember at what conference I was hearing to Tiffany Rosenbaum, and she was talking about acquisitions, and how every single time she acquires a property management company, she personally calls every owners to introduce herself. Every single owner. That takes time if you're buying a, I don't know, a 200 unit company. But that it's like that sets the ground and the base for a successful relationship with an owner. So that extra 5 minutes per owner might save you at that, like thousands of dollars in the future, because they already know you. They know you're putting the time to actually do something different, and not just, oh yeah, like, I'm junior property manager. If you have any questions, send me an email.
Yeah, yeah.
No, no. Those little things in this AI industry where everybody's talking about auto answers, like mass emails or reception. Like, we do have an AI receptionist. We do have it. But that doesn't mean that the AI receptionist does everything. No, it's more like a filter, because sometimes people just like need to be directed correctly. But after the call is made, we receive an email, and I'll say 80% of the time we're calling those people back, even if they're applicants, owners, residents, vendors, so we can actually connect with them and make things different. So yeah, I know a lot. I talk a lot. If I'm talking too much, you just have to tell me, because I know it's not with you, it's with everyone. I usually have meetings with my vendors, and I always tell them, like, prepare yourself for another 20 or 30 minutes more than what you were preparing, because I talk a lot and I ask a lot of questions, and I want to know how everything works.
Kogi, if I didn't appreciate how much you talk, you and me wouldn't be as good of friends as we are, man. I know this, right?
I know.
So like what you just brought up though is a really good point, right? Like, and I think the bumper sticker is the idea of like the most AI company needs to be the most human company also, right? Like that's
Yeah.
the one liner of it. But what you're saying is really true. It is a first principle that really goes across property management and the vendor ecosystem, right? Like we are moving to a world where things are more automatable than ever before, and that allows you for more scale than ever before. And in a world where you're doing that, you also have to then double, triple, quadruple down on the stuff that doesn't scale. Like, do the
Yeah.
unscalable things in the best freaking way possible. Because if we're at this world of like incredible scale, then the risk of commoditization is at an all-time high as well, right? Like these big players can come in. So the double and tripling down on relationships, whether you are a vendor, and that means that you are now as available as ever to your clientele to help them out in the property management space, or you're a property manager that, yeah, because my AI receptionist can take all these calls and my agent can coordinate all these different things, now I can spend an hour and a half with a resident because they're having the worst day ever, and they just had a really bad month, or 2 months, or 2 hours driving to an owner to explain to them why this turn is going to cost you 25 grand, and here's the
Yeah.
things, and here's how how your property is performing, and this is why it's worth it, and we're on top of it, then I'm going to be there to hold your hand,
Yeah.
right? Like I've been on the other side of that, right? Like it's very real. um Real estate investing is the most emotional asset class, because you're dealing with your resident that has their sense of security and home, and like the detail you can put into that, And with the real estate investor, like what's the most expensive stock in the world? Berkshire Hathaway is maybe the cost of a down payment for a house, right? So
Yeah.
think about that, right? And then there's everything else, right? Like people are just way more emotionally invested in this thing. So the availability to show
And
up.
and most of the time, those investors, they're not even investors because they were planning to. Most of them are what they call in the industry like accidental investors, where
Yeah.
they actually realized, oh, I have an extra like I have this property now, which was inherited, or like my mom used to live here, whatever. And they are attached to it emotionally because it was their first house, because it was where their mom used to live, where they grew up, and they wanted someone to take care of the property as if it was them living at the property. That's something that not like you have to understand. And to me, AI, it's gonna get to a point where you're gonna have a tool, you're gonna give it an instruction to, hey, connect with X, Y, and Z vendors and manage like handle this work order, and there it will know how to handle the work order the best without me having to touch to do anything, which is we're almost there right now. Vendoroo is doing great stuff for us. Just today, I received a work order about hey, my smoke detectors are beeping or are going off. It doesn't say beeping, are going off at any time of the day and night. I think they might need to get replaced. That was the work order. And I was talking to Brian, and Brian literally said, like, are they beeping or are they actually like alarming? Are they actually like if there's something wrong?
That's right.
And I'm like, oh, I don't know. Let me check what Vendoroo asked. And that was literally what they asked. Like, hey, are they beeping like out of batteries, or are they actually sounding like an alarm? So we can trash this. That's where we're going. So there's going to be a point where a property manager, an ops manager, and property management company team are going to have a lot of tools and a lot of like different tools that they're going to be able to use to manage properties easily. Like right now, every little vendor has their own little tools. So inspections are easy with C inspectors, with C inspector. Maintenance is really easy with Vendoroo. Processes are really easy with that. And managing and having everything in a one place is really easy with Rentvine. If all of that is already taken care of, what's a property manager's job then? If everything else is going to be taken care of by tools and vendors, how am I going to make myself valuable to an owner? How? Because that same thing, believe it or not, a lot of property managers are going to offer it at some point. And there's going to be tools that are going to make everything 80% automatic, and the property manager is not going to have to spend a lot of time dealing with stuff. The property manager then has to think, okay, what I'm going to do to actually be different and differentiate from those other property managers in my market that are trying to get this property to, because we're all offering pretty similar stuff in terms of prices, inspections, tools. Like what are you doing different that's gonna make you actually be a property manager that people want to hire, right?
Yeah.
So that's really important. You have to not only think about what you're doing today to be better, but build stuff for the future and for what do you want to be. That's really important. That's something we try to lead by. It's we're building our tools and building our company for where we want to be. I'm not trying to, like, right now we are in 130 something properties right now. But my tools, my systems are being built for a property management company managing 500 units, because I can onboard properties faster, because I can manage work orders easily, because I can inspect properties within minutes. All of that, all those tools are going to make our lives easier, but you have to know and to be prepared, basically.
I love it, dude. What comes to mind for me when you talk about this stuff, Kogi, is what Brian brought up in our last webinar, this idea of like the importance of having someone on your team that thinks like an owner, man. And like to me that's like you really do think like the business owner, and you really like think of this stuff deeply, and you're not just out here I think the majority of people, when it comes to AI and it comes to doing a job, right? Like it's natural to just think of like the baseline job of getting it done. But the really important thing is the judgment, right? Like the judgment, how you make decisions, why you make decisions, whether it's an agent or it's, who you're going to hire to be your head of operations, or anybody running your things is super, super important. I think it's why you've done so well in your career, whether full disclosure, you used to work at Vendoroo, or we haven't talked about it.
Yeah,
I'll say that in the introduction of the podcast.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but really what you're doing at Dream Big is really, really impressive, man. And I think we've kind of like landed on this place of the approach of how you get better at AI. We've talked a decent amount about like what your tech stack is and how you judge a tech stack, and then what you're actually building for. I would like to get like super specific on a little bit of what we talked about in that webinar, right? Like it feels like there's been a mindset shift of, I'll just say specifically, you in that webinar said something along the lines of, I was talking to my AI like if it was a person. And then I realized that I have to, when I'm training an agent, when I'm training an AI, I have to talk to it in a slightly different way, which includes more context and how to do that. And I'd love for you to expand on that here in this podcast of kind of like what you see as like a common mistake that somebody would make when they're trying to get the most out of an AI, whether it is Vendoroo or it's Claude or whatever, and how you're approaching it these days that you've learned from that process.
I don't know if you have seen it before, but there's a really cool video. Like if anybody listening to this podcast want to see it, like on YouTube, there's a this dad teaching his children how to like think specifically in life. I don't know how to put it specifically, but basically he tells his son like, "Hey, give me the instructions on how to make PB&J. Pretty basic, a sandwich. Give me the instructions on how to make it." So the kid just starts going over like the instructions, one, two, three, whatever, and then the dad is reading them put the knife inside of the peanut butter. It doesn't say how to do it. It doesn't say what amount you have to take. It doesn't even say that you have to use the knife to take the peanut butter out of the actual container and put it on your bread. So what the dad did was just put the knife inside of the PB&J, and that's all. And the kid was really frustrated with it, like what are you doing, Dad? I mean, how is it possible? You don't understand it. Like you have to use the knife to take out the peanut butter and put it into the bread. You didn't instruct your dad to actually do that. So I always think about the AI again as this genius that knows a lot of stuff, has a lot of information, has really great skills, but doesn't know how to do it, how to use it, right? So if you don't give your agents, your AI context and skills and documentation and a structure on what you're expecting out of the AI, you are not going to get the results you're looking for. So a lot of people are saying, "Oh, AI is amazing because it does pretty cool stuff because it gives me all this, and this." But they're trying to work with the AI as if it was like you and me. If you explain to me, "Hey, Kogi, I'm going to need a report of all the properties that are active right now," I know what you're talking about, and I can do it myself because they have context of our conversation, of where we are, who we are, what's my position in the company, what's everything. It's a whole different deal dealing with the AI because it doesn't know anything. It might be connected to all your tools. It might have a lot of experience with other people, but they don't really, the AI doesn't really understand what you're talking about unless you give them enough context. So I can be more, I cannot be more specific about the actual holy grail on AI. It's context. If you don't give enough context in terms of what you're expecting, how you're expecting, when are you expecting, you're not gonna get the results you wanna get. Kind of. I can show you something I created. I mean, this is not something I have shared with anyone before. It's not even public or finished yet. And it was something I used Claude to teach me how to use Claude, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So for those who don't know, I mean Claude, everybody knows that the Claude is this amazing company that you guys can create a lot of stuff and work together, blah blah blah. Claude offers pretty amazing courses for free. Anthropic is the owner of Claude, and you can learn about Claude for free on their website. So what I did is that I just started Claude 101, a guide to work with AI. I started the course. It took me 2 hours to complete it, or less. I would say less. It was 2 hours because at the same time I was going through the course, I was also copying and pasting all the information it had and putting into Claude. So I was, okay, I'm learning this, but I'm also copying and pasting everything into Claude. And what I did, it's pretty simple. I told Claude, hey man, I need you to like if everybody's listening to the podcast, you should go and check the video too right now. So it is like, okay, I'm gonna give you my logos, I'm gonna give you all this information, who we are, what we do, and I want you to put all of this into kind of a guide. Again, this is not completed. I don't even know if Brian is gonna say, hey, you're not supposed to be showing that, because I'm still working on it. But basically, it's how to use Claude at its best, right? Claude 101, which it says Claude 101, but it is the same thing for every single AI agent kind of thing. The most important thing you have to understand is the actual context and to be clear about like how you're going to prompt the AI. So basically, I wanted to show you this because they are pretty specific with this framework, the 3-element prompt like framework, which I would say it's basically how everyone can talk to AI. This is for everyone. There's going to be people that are going to say, oh, I have this that works better for me. Yes, again, AI, it's not a tool that it's going to be used the same for everyone. Pablo can ask a question to Claude. I can ask the same question, but things are going to be different every single time just because I might add some extra context, because Pablo might add extra context, because Pablo might like things different. So like the answers might be a little different. So basically, and for everyone, the most important thing on AI is context. So there's 3 elements, pretty basic. You have to set the stage. Who are you? What is your role and your objective? For example, in my case, I am the operations manager at a property management company in Riverside, California, and I can add more context to it. I am like specialized in this. I have background on this specific. I am also learning this, or I am also a realtor. I'm also this. You have to give them context. Then you have to define a task. What action do you want Claude to take? You want Claude to write an email. You want it to analyze a document. You want it to build an agent. You want to summarize a book, or do you want to do some research on some specific item you want to add into your company? So you have to be specific about what you want. There's an example here. I want you to draft a lease renewal reminder email for a tenant who's 30 days out. This is pretty basic, but I can have it like be really as specific in terms of I want you and before I continue on set the stage, you can also add stuff here. Again, this is not fully completed, but you can also add who I want the AI to be, right? So I want the AI to see things as a manager, or maybe as an ops guy, or as a technician, or as a consulting. And then I have to specify the rules. So I have to set the stage, define the task, and then specify the rules. What I'm waiting for. I want it to be under 200 words, professional but friendly, include a call to action so they can do something. And here it's where you want to be the most specific you can in terms of, oh, I want this email to include a specific signature every single time. You can teach it, the AI is going to remember it, and in the future, it's going to do it again. And then a full prompt will look like this. I am the ops manager at a property management company in Riverside, overseeing a portfolio of residential and commercial properties. We are preparing our Q3 owner report package. Can you draft a professional monthly performance summary for one of our properties covering occupancy rate, maintenance, activity, rent collections, rent collection status, and any open issues? Use a formal but approachable tone. Keep it under one page, and it's structured with clear section headers so owners can scan it quickly. This can be connected using MCP to a software like Rentvine and Vendoroo and Apple. So it will take information out of those three softwares and put it into one page. This is, I don't have examples here because this is a draft, but this is basically what they have. There's also common challenges on how to fix them. This was built by me for Dream Big. I haven't shared it with anyone, but all of this information that I have here, it's 16 pages of information. All of this is in that course that I told you, the Claude AI 101 course. It's free. Everybody should be doing stuff like that. What people doesn't know is that most of the time, these big companies or like ChatGPT, Claude, and N8N, like companies that are big in this space, they already have a lot of documentation and courses and stuff for free to learn how to use it. There are little tools that you can learn out of there. I have also the Claude Code one and Cowork and how to use skills and create workspaces and stuff like that. Agents, sub agents, all of that is like you can find it for free on Anthropic's website.
Dude, this is awesome. This is awesome. I've heard about this framework before. I've seen people do it, but to like contextualize this into the MCP universe, essentially what I'm hearing is like, let's say it's for something like Vendoroo, right? When you are training the Vendoroo agent and you're saying, I want you to, well, can you contextualize this for Vendoroo, right? Like, cause like I see this when it's like, write me an email, but when you're training the Vendoroo agent how to like triage something differently, or I don't know, give me an example of kind of like how you've done this inside of Vendoroo that would do this in a way that changes the output of like either how it answers you or how it would update a process or something like that.
On Vendoroo, what I realized it's a pretty simple chat. First of all, I don't know how you guys have built it, but it's pretty simple in terms of context is really important, but you don't have to be really so big and really so specific with this specific tool. Again, this is not for every single AI, but you guys have done it. I don't know how, because what I've seen is that I can give enough context without being so extensive on my request that the AI is understanding and confirming back with me. That's really important. There are some AI agents that they don't confirm back to you with stuff. Like, is this something? Is this what you're talking about? Is this what you're expecting? So for example, I remember a few months ago, I was going through the AI and I asked the chat literally like, hey, I want you to like, what if someone says, I'm having issues with my garbage disposal? Oh, this is the triage for the garbage disposal issue. Okay, awesome. And I saw that it was missing a really important portion, which was that in some of our properties, we left an Allen wrench below the garbage disposal, below the sink, so they can actually use it to try to unclog it or to see if maybe it's clogged or something like that. That specific portion was missing, and I wanted the triage to actually say that. So I just instructed, hey, I want you from now on, every issue that comes regarding garbage disposal, I want you to be really specific and include that they should find an Allen wrench below the sink and turn the garbage disposal from below to see if it is actually clogged. Because if it turns, it might not be a clogged issue or something stuck inside of it. It might be like that it has to be replaced or a breaker, something different. And the AI came back to me saying, hey, is this type of triage and troubleshooting what you're looking for? Oh, yes, that's what I'm looking for. And it gets set. That's as simple as it can get. And I'm pretty sure that from now on, it's going to happen. Same thing with Vendoroo in terms of questions regarding our work order. I go there like, hey, I am checking over the communications of this work order, and I see that this specific vendor it's only being contacted using email. Why? If you guys have the phone number. And then it came back to me saying, oh, it's because here says that this vendor has to be contacted using this specific email. So the AI was getting confused. It was saying, okay, I have my instruction here saying the vendor has to be contacted via email using this specific email that they provided. So AI is thinking, okay, so I'm going to contact the via email from now on. I'm not going to use the phone number because it already says that it has to be contacted using a specific email. So that was on me. I had to go back and fix it. But I realized, okay, this is a basic issue that I'm going over, and I fix it. And from now on, I'm not going to have any issues again like that. So it is really useful to analyze stuff. On the Vendoroo side, what I'm seeing is that it's not like the other AI tools where you want to have like written emails, drafts, stuff like that. It's more to analyze and report between us and the AI and you guys. So I use it a lot to build little reports about work orders, about properties. I have asked literally, I want you to go over all my active work orders regarding fences and tell me which ones are open, which ones do we have an estimate, and which ones are we're waiting for an estimate. And at some point, I had like 10 different work orders related to fences, which out of the 10, 4 or 5 were from the same owner. So I came back and said, hey, I also want you to group them by owner. So I can talk to one owner about these 4 or 5 work orders that they're having. So that helped me a lot to actually not having to have the same conversation 2 or 3 times with the same owner regarding an issue that can be just one phone call. So I use it a lot like my little assistant for maintenance, and that has saved me a lot of time. A lot of time.
That's man, that's super interesting. I've never heard that example before I've just never heard that example before, right? Like this idea of like chatting with it to create analysis of stuff and then grouping by like, task or whatnot. It really is, when you describe it that way, it truly is kind of like this. It's your maintenance right hand, right? Like it's your maintenance right hand that it's like your executive assistant for maintenance that handles all that stuff. The last thing I'm curious, because you've explained that really well. What's the difference between the piece of the way that I explain it, which I don't know if people understand, is this idea of, at like where you guys were before, 65% automation, you were still stuck in the doing. Like you still had to like look at stuff, do things manually. And then once you guys got into this like 80 to 90% automation was kind of like what you were looking for, this idea. Like you weren't looking for 80, 90% automation. You were looking for, get me out of this shit so that I can go focus on something else. How to like what's the reality of that, right? Because I don't know how to explain the way that you just described how you use Vendoroo right now in this other way is very clear to me, and I've never been able to like make it real of this idea of the difference between 60% automation and 85% plus is you're not stuck doing the things, you're able to like do other work. Like what's the best way to describe that?
The difference between those two worlds, I mean, it's night and day, basically. So when we were at 60%, I remember spending hours, literally hours a day, going over maintenance and trying to deal with stuff. Brian was confident that things were getting done. The thing is that a lot of was being done by me because I was not having things done correctly on your side and in our side, of course. So that difference between having 60% automation to an 80, 90, it's actually like gaining back my time. Yeah. Sometimes there are some days that I even think, oh, today was an actual easy day on maintenance. I mean, shit, I never said that before. It's like, how is it possible that I don't have to worry a lot about maintenance stuff? That's something that in a lot of property management companies, they are like, no, man, maintenance is my biggest headache. Because maintenance it's one of the main reasons a property management company can go broke, or an owner, like the main reason why an owner can kick out or like can quit or cancel services with a property management company, it's maintenance. Of course. So not having to be worried about what is going on behind the scenes has helped me a lot. And being able to understand that um if you set up things correctly, that was the biggest understanding I had. I always thought that I had to do everything. That has been an issue my whole life. I mean, since I was in school, I was like, no, don't worry, I'm gonna do the homework myself, and I'm gonna put your name on it. Don't worry about it. I don't trust your answers. I don't trust your work. I trust mine. If I make a mistake, I know I did it, but I don't trust you answering questions or doing stuff. And that was a really big change for me because it was like, no, man, I have to trust that if I am putting all this time and this effort into building something with Vendoroo and an agent, an AI that is actually going to solve things for me, I am actually going to use it. That was the problem. I was not trusting you guys at all because I thought that things were not getting done correctly because I was not even letting you guys do it. So, and that's something property managers will have to learn is to let go a little between that 60 and 90% difference. It's I let go a lot. I trusted that if I'm putting the right information here, things are gonna get done. And if things are not getting done, then it's I'm not gonna jump into it right away and I'm gonna worry. That's a really big change. That's something I need to put out there. It's just today. I had a question. My first message received from Brian was a text message he received from a vendor saying, "Hey, I'm gonna go and pick up my check later today." And we were like, "What check? What are you talking about?" And the thing is that he completed a job and he sent a message to Vendoroo saying, "Hey, this is my invoice, and please like have it like I'll go and pick up my payment next week. But also, I am going to stop by the property again in 2 weeks to make sure that the issue is resolved." So the AI got confused. Okay, is the job done because I received the invoice? But also not like completely done because the guy is stopping again in 2 weeks. Instead of getting crazy and starting to sending messages and going crazy about why is not this invoice uploaded into the system, I went ahead and talked to the AI. Hey, why is this work order not fully closed yet? Oh, the vendor said that he's stopping by in 2 weeks. So we have not closed the work order because we want to follow up with the vendor in 2 weeks. Oh, okay. Now, more than time, I have gained again like some peace of mind because I now know that even if I don't have the information, I know there's a reason behind things, how things are going. Now I just have to go to the AI and specify if a vendor provides an invoice but says that he's going to visit the property again, I need you to upload the invoice so we can pay it and leave the work order open until the actual time has come to the end. That's a whole different deal than going crazy, calling vendors, talking to Vendoroo about what happened here. It's a matter of understanding the reasoning behind it. Again, AI is a genius that doesn't know he's a genius. So that it doesn't know what they're doing, how they're doing it. So you have to understand it first because you have to know and understand what's going on. And to finish maybe with this on the podcast is you every single company, it doesn't matter if it's a property management company or any other type of business, when you hire someone, you train that person to be the best possible. Give them all the proper tools, you give them the context, you give them everything that you can to make sure that that person is prepared for success. But also at the same time, you realize that we are always learning. We have to understand that things are getting, you have to understand that if you stop learning, you're dying, basically, to me. Why? Because every single day there's new tools, there's new ways, there's new information, there's a lot of new stuff that people can learn. So everybody understands that. Everybody goes to conferences, everybody reads books, everybody goes to courses and do stuff about improving and learning and doing something different and better and inspiring the rest of the company to do better too. But they're just trying it with humans. They need to start thinking about AI as another employee that you have to keep teaching. You have to keep giving it context. You have to give it some skills. So you have to keep upgrading it, kind of. Now that we're talking about tech, you have to keep upgrading it. It's as basic. It's easier. It's 100 times easier to make AI better than make an employee better, because an employee is a human. Humans are lazy. I can show you, I can teach you, I can explain to you something, and maybe you said, okay, yeah, I understand it now. And 2 weeks later, you're coming back to me saying, hey man, I forgot how to do this. I haven't done it in 2 weeks, and I really forgot this specific step. And you understand, oh yeah, no problem. The process is really long. Yeah, you have to do this specific thing. With AI, we're expecting to understand better of our minds. I had a pretty interesting conversation with someone at Be Heard, and they were like, "How is it possible that ChatGPT is not able to read my mind and do things how I want it to be done?" I'm like, "No, man, you have to teach it. You have to do it." So when we're talking about agents or chats or AI, those are little things that like you can put it there and make sure that they're always there as skills, as documentation, as context, that are going to make sure that the AI you're using, even if it's Claude, even if it's not even Vendoroo, it's any other type of AI, or and for whatever use case you are using the AI for, keep teaching it, keep upgrading it, keep giving it context. Understand that it's becoming your right hand. There's going to be a point, I'm pretty sure this is going to be a point in the future, where you're going to be able to download all of that and put it in an app, a Claude 2.0 kind of thing, where it's going to be almost like a human, and you're going to be able to talk to it, and you're going to be able to instruct how to do things. Because if you have instructed 2 years ago, it remembers what it did, how he did it, because that's the main difference between human and AI. They can remember things. I can remember what I ate yesterday. AI can remember what I asked a month ago. Pretty easy and simple. So it's that. It's AI, it's context, is an employee that you have to keep teaching, is a tool. Remember, it's a tool, and you have to learn how to use a tool. I'm not going to go out and start trying to learn how to use a chainsaw because the tree is too big for me. And just because, oh, I can, whatever. No, there's a proper way to do it. There's some instructions, there's some guidelines, safeguards that you have to put in place to make sure that things are done correctly and not die trying. So this industry is growing. AI is not going to stop now. Things are going to get bigger and better. You just have to do it, try it, and spend time doing it. I mean, the easiest way to do it is just jump right into it. Jump right into it and make sure things are getting done. For those people listening to the podcast, if I'm not wrong, Aptly is offering like Claude Pro for like 6 months just by scheduling something with them. That's a way to actually start working with the AI and spending time and asking things and making mistakes, but actually jumping into it. Don't think because you're too old or because you're not tech savvy, you're not going to be able to do it. Today, the same AI has made easy to use the AI.
That's a great landing spot, man. What you described there is the number one reason that we see people failing. And I think it's the big thing that this aha moment that you've had in the last kind of like 6 months. And it's, yes, AI is a tool. You said it very, very clearly, but approaching it like a teammate is the number one mindset shift that you can do.
Yeah.
And the teammate approach really is everything that you've just described. Like, it is not, don't be complacent with it, give it feedback, give it context, continue to like help it learn the way that you would with a teammate. And the people that really understand that are the ones that are having these outsized results. And the outsized results are exactly what you just said. The actual belief that something is getting handled in the way that you would want it done without you having to micromanage it, so that you can take that mental load, close that tab in your brain, and dedicate that to the stuff that really matters, which is the attention to the things that really move the needle and differentiate you, and relationships and all these things and all these special projects, man. So I think you nailed it, bro. This is exactly what I was hoping to get out of this conversation. I think the property manager that's listening to us right now has all the breadcrumbs that they need to succeed, man. And I'm not surprised, Kogi, because like as long as I've known you, it's very clear to me that you have the skill set of today's economy, which is curiosity and then the work ethic to tinker with something until you figure it out. And more than anything, this like ownership mindset, like you clearly care more than the average person that's paid to just do a role. And that's why I think you're going to continue to be a superstar in this industry. If I have anything to do with it, everybody in property management is going to know who you are. So I'm just really pumped that we got to do this, man. We got to lay it down and share this with folks, man. So thanks for taking the time to do it.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. Everybody, like I've learned that the more you give, the more you receive. So being able to help someone that might be where I was 6 months ago, trying to figure things out, stressed about maintenance or about anything else on the business, and being able to actually give some light on someone's problems, that's better than anything else for me. It's to be able to help someone because I know that sooner or later someone that is where I want to be in the future, it's gonna help me too, like I'm helping other people. So it's great to be of help. If someone needs me, they can find me on LinkedIn or like my name at dreambigpm.com, and I can help anyone what they need. We are here to serve, basically.